Welcome into Football Guys Sunday Morning Live, the greatest start-sit show in the entire universe, I have been told by my mother. I'm Joey Wright, joined with, as always, by Adam Hutchinson. Colton Dodgson, how you doing this morning, boys?
We're doing good,
Doing great.
Ready to get to these start sit questions and
Okay.
hopefully help people win their fantasy leagues here.
I'm a little tongue-tied this morning. 2 touchdowns from Igbuka last week. We'll do that for you. Adam,
Yeah.
you're sitting pretty with that still?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed because I wanted to make him my start of the week last week, but it felt like low hanging fruit. I got a little cute with Xavier Legette that obviously backfired on me, but yeah, no, we're happy with where Emeka Buka is to start the season.
Okay, and we'll get to your starts of the week. I think they're pretty interesting this week for you guys. We'll get that to the halfway through the show. As always, Colton and Adam will be here. Whoa, boy, tongue-tied this morning. Will be here with me for the first half hour. Jeff Bell will join us in the second half hour. If you're watching us on the Football Guys Fantasy Football channel, go ahead and like and subscribe there for sure. But going after week 4, we will be on the Football Guys Live YouTube channel. So make sure to hop over there and like and subscribe. Guys, let's hop right into these injuries. I don't want to waste any time today. We want to get as many of these start and sit questions done as possible. Let's cover the injuries first. Out that we know for sure today, a couple 49ers, Brock Purdy and George Kittle. Adam, what's the timeline on those guys right now?
So George Kittle's on IR, so he's going to have to miss at least 4 weeks. I was a little bit surprised by that, just given George Kittle's injury history, dealing with the hamstring strain. But it sounds like it was probably one of the more moderate to severe hamstring strains. So he's going to miss at least 4 weeks. Brock Purdy, we're going to have to really, play it week by week. It sounds like the toe injury is the most limiting thing at this point. I haven't seen specifics on it, but all signs point to it being a turf toe injury, which can be pretty painful, but typically more limiting for skill position players. For a quarterback, I think that's something that he could play through with a special insole in his shoe. Sounds like early reports this morning from Ian Rappaport, Brock Purdy's progressing well. If 49ers aren't super optimistic that he'll play in week 3, I'm still going to leave a light on for Brock Purdy in week 3. I think it's a possibility that he could be back sooner rather than later.
Okay, and Colton, if you needed to start Mac Jones today in, say, a super flex league, do you have any confidence there, or are you looking for other options?
I did actually trade for him in a league this week. I'm confident enough in this system. I know the options are a little worrisome, right? With Jawan Jennings a little banged up. I know there's optimism he plays today, but going with just Christian McCaffrey, no George Kittle, you've got Ricky Pearsall. The options are somewhat limited for a backup quarterback, but I have enough faith in this offensive system that he can still give you just enough, especially if your options are limited, right? Sometimes if you're in those super flex leagues, every quarterback is rostered and you're looking for options, right? So I think this system is productive enough to get you what you need to sort of stay afloat out of Mac Jones. And they're playing the Saints. It might be a little more of a battle than maybe we expect when you're looking at the Saints, but team implied total of 21. So there should be just enough there.
Okay, and then Dallas Goedert is going to be out today. Adam? What's the diagnosis on Goddard? What's going on with him?
Yeah, we haven't gotten specifics. We just know that it's a knee injury at this point. I was just looking up some numbers while you guys were talking. For tight ends, if we're dealing with non-specific knee injuries, that can usually be anywhere between 0 to 3 weeks for the tight end position. Dallas Goedert, usually someone that hovers closer to that median timeline in terms of games missed. So if you drafted Dallas Goedert, this has kind of been the theme the last couple of seasons with him. He usually gets banged up and misses a couple of games. We know he's out week 2. Wouldn't it be shocking to see him out week 3 and possibly week 4?
All right. And then Xavier Worthy as well. He is going to be out. Darren Waller. Young Hoku stayed behind in Atlanta after last week. And then Isaiah Likely is also going to miss this week. Let's look at the next slide. We got questionable today. Jawan Jennings. With latest reports say that Jennings will most likely be out there. Adam, is that kind of what you're hearing as well?
Yeah, his practice trends this week almost hinted that he wouldn't be active, but it sounds like the 49ers were worried about more significant injury with Jawan Jennings looking at the shoulder. He got an MRI early in the week and then a CT scan. All that came back negative, was basically means, any structural damage that Jawan Jennings has on his shoulder came back clean, which is why he probably was not practicing to start the week. He's still obviously a risky play. We know that the 49ers aren't going to have Brock Purdy under center. The 49ers offensive line is a little bit banged up. I was looking at our Football Guys consensus rankings last night. We had him kind of buried, Jawan Jennings, that is, at wide receiver 75. I think that was a lot to do with the uncertainty with not knowing if he was going to play or not. I would bring him up a little bit, kind of in the wide receiver 40, wide receiver 50 range. I think he can be in consideration with guys like Kayshon Boutte, Joshua Palmer, kind of in that range. There's going to be a little bit of uncertainty. Typically, wide receivers struggle a little bit coming off shoulder injuries. So there's some question marks with Jawan Jennings, but wide receiver 75, that feels too low. I consider him kind of like a wide receiver 3 flex play, depending on your league options.
Okay. And then if you had to pick a wide receiver other than Jawan Jennings in San Francisco, who's it going to be, Colton?
Oh man, I don't know how you ignore what Ricky Pearsall did last week. He looks pretty good, and obviously with Brock Purdy under center, right? So Mac Jones is the big variable, but if you're looking elsewhere with George Kittle out and Jawan Jennings obviously a little banged up, obviously Christian McCaffrey is going to be involved in the passing game, but there is a huge role in store, I think, for Ricky Pearsall, and when you start with the performance he had in Week 1 against Seattle, it's only up from there. So especially with Mac Jones and scheming him up, pretty easy targets and things like that.
Awesome. All right. And then Mason Taylor and Jalen Wright also questionable today. I did hear Mason Taylor most likely is going to play today. So that's good news for all of my fantasy lineups because I have a lot of Mason Taylor, but not starting him. But he's on my bench. I want to see it, All right. Expected to play today and tomorrow. Brock Bowers is expected to play. That is good news. I'm still going to make the recommendation. If you have an empty roster spot and you're starting Brock Bowers tomorrow and Michael Mayer's available, just let him sit on your bench for the week. You never know if everything is actually going to work out the way. All Brock Bowers needs to do is pull up a little limp in pre-games, and then you're in trouble. So if Michael Mayer's there, go ahead and pick him up. Just sit him on your bench if you got the extra spot. You can drop him next week if you need to. James Cook also expected to play. Darnell Mooney making his season debut. Excited to see that. Colton, I want to talk to you about Quinshon Judkins. He is expected to play today. What are you expecting in terms of workload for him?
Yeah, every report has sort of been that his snaps are going to be capped, and they're sort of going to ease him in a little bit as sort of a backup spell type of guy as he gets up to speed. He missed all of camp, right? There was a huge delay in getting the contract signed, all of those things, right? So I don't think you can fire up Quinshon Judkins this week, especially against Baltimore, where they're 11-point dogs, and feel good about it until he really gets up to speed. Don't start him this week and expect what we might see from him in Week 8 just because he's active. I think this is just part of the plan. If you roster Quinshon Judkins, you have to be feeling pretty good. This is a step in the right direction, but I think you need to be a little more patient and kind of just see what it looks like week in and week out until you notice a pretty gradual ramp up.
Perfect. Jalen Waddle also expected to play today. And then with the questionable tag of Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton's expected to play today. Darius Slayton could have a pretty decent day out there. If you need a desperation flex, I think there's a lot worse people you could throw in there today. And then I put this up. I wanted to kind of talk about 2 big injuries we had on Thursday. We know for sure now Austin Eckler is going to be out for the season. Very sad to see. Everybody kind of loves Austin Eckler. He's always kind of thrown his arms around the fantasy community. So I know we're all hoping that Eckler gets better and we see him back on the field again. Jaden Reed, though. What's going on with Jaden Reed, Adam? Do we have a
so for Jaden Reed? Yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing. Mid-season form, Joey.
Nice.
Nice. That's bad. Don't encourage me.
So with Jaden Reed, when we saw the injury on Thursday, I was hopeful that it was just an AC joint sprain, but it actually turns out that Jaden Reed did fracture his clavicle, often referred to as the collarbone. I would expect him to have surgery on that to stabilize the fracture site. So we're looking at anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks as a average recovery timeline for Jaden Reed. I would expect him to be out at least 6 weeks.
All right. So 6 weeks. So look for Matthew Golden. Dontavian Wicks looked really good on Thursday. He was getting some work. That was exciting to see. Romeo Dobbs, I think he might just be, if I had to pick a safe guy there in Green Bay, that receiving core, I think it's Romeo Dobbs. So awesome. Well, guys, we're going to hop right into your questions. David T, he was the first question in here from across the pond. He had like a 6-hour lead on y'all, so it's actually not that fair. Pearsall or Hollywood Brown in a flex spot? Colton, where are you going there?
I think in terms of target share at this point, because Xavier Worthy isn't playing and obviously Rashee Rice is suspended, and we kind of saw Hollywood Brown just be peppered with targets in week 1. I think the Eagles, going back and watching that game from Thursday, Andrew Makuba is a safety in the secondary. Adoree Jackson is a new addition at the CB2 spot. I think there was some miscommunications and there's some kinks to work out in that secondary for Philly. Obviously, there's a rookie linebacker, Jahad Campbell, starting as well for them. So they're still kind of figuring some things out. I don't think Hollywood Brown needs, in terms of like, to have a good day, a super high ADOT or anything like that. These are going to be pretty straightforward targets for him. I think if you're looking for a relatively safe floor, I would probably lean Hollywood Brown. But Pearsall, I think, has a much higher ceiling and can do more with the volume he's likely to see, especially with Jawan Jennings dealing with what he's dealing with. So playing Jamar Chase and Igbuka in your other wide receiver spots, I'd say swing for the upside and maybe lean Pearsall there.
Perfect. All right, Chris, welcome in. Thank you for being here. 12-team PPR starting London, Wilson, and he needs a wide receiver between Keenan Allen, J-Mo, Jalen Warren. Adam, where are you going there? Pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand why we want to get Keenan Allen into lineups. He definitely looked good on that last Friday's game. Was it Friday in Brazil? Yeah, Friday when they were playing.
Friday in Brazil.
I think I would go Jameson Williams. You likely drafted Jameson Williams a lot higher than Keenan Allen. Actually, I know most people did. It's tough after week 1. We don't get too reactionary. I would just lean on my preseason rankings the first couple of weeks, and I would go Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I think that Green Bay defense is going to be a problem all year long for teams.
Sure.
And I want to give the Lions one more week. The Lions were kind of always my second team the last 3 years. I was really high on Goff, and all their receiving options there. So yeah, let's give the Lions one more week. They were one of the best teams in the league last year. Ben Johnson's gone, so I guess we got to see. But all right, Dane's in here. He's got a picture of a dog, so we're going to put his question up. Colton, we've got 2 different running back situations here. Real quick, Warren versus Charbonnet. Who do you like there?
Warren versus Charbonnet. I think that backfield, the Arthur Smith backfield, is always going to be a conundrum. But Mike Tomlin mentioned Jalen Warren is going to be the featured runner in that backfield. He did score a touchdown last week. And I think there's a lot of Charbonnet hype, but I'm kind of buying into maybe the narrative that Kenneth Walker did miss a lot of camp with an injury, and they're kind of trying to ramp him back up. And maybe that's why we saw the split that we saw in week 1. It is, I'm not discounting it by any means. It's something you need to watch, the Charbonnet Walker split. But I think Warren is maybe a slightly safer option there, given the role that he plays in that offense. And then Tracy versus Charbonnet, I'm definitely leaning Charbonnet there. I think Dallas's defense, looked a lot better, a lot stronger, especially against the run, than maybe we anticipated in week 1. And New York didn't really look much better than what we saw last year. So that's going to be a tough team to fire up running backs for. Give me Warren over Charbonnet, but Charbonnet over Tracy.
Got it. All right. Scott Betts. Good morning, guys. Got hit hard with injuries last week. Sorry to hear about that, Scott. Got to fill the flex spot with one of these between Mark Andrews, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins. Give us one, Adam.
I always like to tell people when I'm going a little bit off our consensus rankings, we definitely have Aaron Jones rated higher than J.K. Dobbins. I watched a lot of that Minnesota Chicago game. I think Jordan Mason is for real. They definitely want to use him between the 20s. They want him to be the early down grinder. So I'm a little bit worried about Aaron Jones just from a volume standpoint. I think I'm going to lean J.K. Dobbins at this point.
Okay. All right. The next question, Scott. I'm going to play Herbert over Murray. What we saw from Herbert last week, I'm really excited. If you waited on quarterback last year or this year, and you got Justin Herbert in a lot of your leagues, congratulations, because he looks great. Carter Holland, that's a great picture there, Carter. I love that. That's so cute. Good morning. Would you start Brenton Strange this week over any of these wide receivers? Keon Coleman, Drake London, DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, Amika Ibuka. I'm not doing that. Colton, are you doing that? Starting him over any of those guys?
Let's see. DJ Moore, Khalil. Nah, I'm with you. I say roll with those wide receivers for sure.
Perfect. All right, Jim. Jim, lovely family on the beach. I remember you from last year, Jim. Welcome back. Half point PPR for his flex between George Pickens, Jalen Warren, Jameson Williams, Jordan Mason, or Keon Coleman. Ooh, hard decision there for you, Adam. Who are you going with?
I'm wondering, not to bury the lead because we're going to talk about starts of the week later. I'm wondering if I should have made Jordan Mason my starter this week. I'm pretty high on Jordan Mason. I know there's some big names on there. In a half point PPR league, I might lean a little bit more towards that running back position. I think I'm going to go Jordan Mason. I know that's a little bit crazy. We definitely have a lot of those other guys rated higher, but I'm optimistic about his role in this Vikings offense.
I like optimism. I really do. Gabe, I saw your question before the show started. And this, I think, is going to be one of the most common fantasy questions this season because a lot of people, when they drafted Kenneth Walker, they went and got Zach Charbonnet as well. I'm going to ask everybody because I think this is a really, really important question this week because it could be the future of this backfield. Ken Walker or Zach Charbonnet? Colton, where are you on that debate?
First, Gabe, I want to acknowledge that is an awful bind, and I'm sorry you're going through that because that is a tough call to make. I am in, like I just mentioned that I think maybe Ken Walker was dealing with a bit of a ramp up in week one. All of the reporting out of camp was that he was probably going to lead this backfield. You drafted him. It's sort of what Adam mentioned. Don't overreact too much to week one. You drafted him to be a starter, obviously insured him with Charbonnet, but I'm leaning Ken Walker.
Okay. Adam, where you at?
I'm going Ken Walker too. Just to give some people some context, players looking at the running back position coming off of a foot injury, on average, those running backs see about a 10% decrease in their snap share their first game back. So I definitely agree with Colton's point about there being a potential wrap up and maybe more of an even split with Zach Charbonnet in week one. This is Ken Walker's backfield until we see something that a bigger sample size that it's not. I'm going with Ken Walker.
All right. Big Mike, the Bears fan. Remember last year when I thought it was something else? That was pretty funny. I called him Big Mick, and then somebody had to correct me on that. What up, fellas? Sutton or Evans and PPR? Whew. I'm not going to answer this one. Colton.
Also, would you start? Okay, I was reading the second part. I am probably going Sutton over Evans in full PPR. And then would you start Coleman, Judy, or Montgomery? Sorry, Joey. I think what we saw from Keon Coleman was really encouraging. I also, all week, I've been trying to contextualize that with the absurd game script that we saw in that Bills-Ravens game. Jerry Judy, it was a little troublesome. I think there's more competition there than maybe we anticipated. And then I'm with Joey. It's just week one for Detroit. Obviously, I think they ended up drawing one of the tougher matchups that they could have drawn in your first week without your offensive and defensive coordinator. I'm still going to roll Montgomery here. So give me Sutton and Montgomery.
Sounds good. Yeah, Montgomery, he was money last year. Often he was put outside of people's like RB20, and you're like, he kind of finished his top 15 every week, no matter what. So, but once again, Ben Johnson's gone. So we'll see if that changes at all. Bruce is in here with us. As always, Bruce, we love seeing you. Have a nice problem at wide receiver. I like nice problems. He's got JMO, he's got Pearsall, he's got Coleman, and he's got Booty. Pick two. Adam, where are you going?
I think you put them in the order that I would play them. I'm leaving Jamison Williams in lineups. I'm leaning into the Ricky Pearsall hype. He could be, especially with George Kittle out, he could be the number one pass catching option for the 49ers.
So Adam's not a booty man. We found out this morning. All right, Jay Blaker. Sorry, Joe. Good morning. Running back question: who has the better week? Full PPR, and Joe is watching because he texted me about something. So Henry or Barkley? Oh gosh, find a way to get both those guys in your lineup. But if you got to pick one, Colton, Henry or Barkley?
Oh man, I don't know how you. I hope you're not in a position where you have to sit either of those guys.
Oh man.
But I think I have to lean Derrick Henry. When you're in 11.5, hopefully he plays for this entire game. That would be the only concern, right? And obviously Kansas City, I mean, the last sample we have of Chiefs Eagles was the Super Bowl when they dedicated everything they had to slowing Saquon Barkley. I think that matchup is definitely more difficult. I think Derrick Henry's, if you're looking at his anytime touchdown props, they're like minus 300 now. He's just such a lock to score touchdowns. And obviously nothing is a lock, so contextualize that. But again, find a way to get both of these guys, but I'm leaning Derrick Henry.
It was a shame last week that Derrick Henry's game basically had to end because of a fumble. Because I mean, what a superstar game that everybody had. Man, we don't get games like that very often. What we had last Sunday. I think it was the Chiefs and Rams on a Monday night about 8 years ago. My favorite football game I've ever watched in my life. Just you have no stake in the game except for fantasy, and just I think there was like 95 combined points in that game. It was insane. All right, Dan. Good morning. Half PPR, need one wide receiver and one tight end. Pearsall, McMillan, Ferguson, or Kyle Pitts. Pick one of each, Adam.
I'm going to pick Ricky Pearsall. I'm assuming that Jake Ferguson and not the Ferguson that's on the Rams. And if that is the case, then I would go Jake Ferguson over Kyle Pitts.
Sounds good. And then Matthew Stanko. Thanks for being. I love your hat, man. That's a great hat. Good morning, guys. Need your advice on tight end, Njoku or Juwan Johnson? Colton, which one you going there?
Man, I have been a big Juwan Johnson guy before the hype, man. I got in at the base level. I love Juwan Johnson's role in this offense, and we kind of saw that in week one, right? You saw the snap share, you saw the route participation, you saw the target share on a team that figures to throw a ton. Njoku, Harold Fannin is going to be involved. I think they're going to get creative with how he's involved, though. I'm leaning Juwan Johnson here just based on the role that we saw in week one. I think that is entirely sustainable.
Perfect. All right. We're going to go rapid fire for the next 5 minutes before we get to starts of the week for Colton and Adam. So, Boar, Njoku, Fannin, or Ferguson, or Juwan are on waivers. Pick one, Adam.
Juwan, let's make it easy.
Okay. All right. Clayton, not our Clayton, though. Flex question, full PPR. Should he start Pearsall or Booty, Montgomery, Hunter, or Tracy Jr.? Pick one, Colton.
Give me Pearsall there.
Okay. Epidemics. Hola, amigos. I speak some Espanol. Speaking of Espanol, congrats to Mauricio Gutierrez over at Football Guys.
Absolutely.
Just landed a job with ESPN man. Mexico. Was on Sports Center yesterday. We love you, Mauricio. We love you, amigo. Great to see that. Need a flex in half PPR. DJ Moore, Tyrone Tracy, or Jordan Mason. It's going to be Jordan Mason for you, Adam.
Yeah. Let's lean in. Let's go all Jordan Mason.
Well, I like leaning in. Colton, Pearsall, Perkins, or Butte. Am I missing of who Perkins is? Is there a player named Perkins? Am I about to smack myself across the face?
No, I was in the same boat. I was
okay,
like,
good,
I hope
good.
somebody else.
Just me.
Okay. Whoever Perkins is, I'm probably not leaning Perkins here. I'm going Pearsall in this instance. I do like Booty a lot, but give me Pearsall.
So Colton, Booty man. Adam,
there we go.
Not a Booty man.
Sorry,
Joey wants to keep his job. So he's going to go to the next question. And there's a dog. Oh, it's a golden retriever and probably a lab. I just got a golden retriever in the offseason. Adam has a golden retriever. Colton, do you have a golden retriever?
I do. Her name is Sunny. Shout out, Sunny.
Wow.
It's an all golden retriever lineup for the first half out. We
go.
found the connection. There we go.
There it is.
2 weeks in. Let's go. Mine's name's Betty. All right. Daniel Jones or Michael Penix, Colton?
I liked what I saw from Michael Penix a lot in week 1. Sorry, Joey. You won. It's all good.
Yeah, we
Daniel
did.
Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely a tougher matchup for Daniel Jones. Give me Penix here.
All right. Andrea's in here with us. We love to see Andrea. Always here with us. Need one flex out of Tracy, Keenan Allen, and Dylan Sampson. I kind of like Keenan Allen here. I'll answer that one. I struggled with this name last year. I'm just gonna say Irish because that's all I see. Good morning. PPR pick one: Henderson, Aaron Jones, or Pearsall. Now Henderson's in there. Adam, are you putting Jones over Henderson?
Am I putting Jones over Henderson? Or are you talking about am I putting Pearsall over Henderson? I'm sorry.
Aaron Jones over
I'm,
Henderson. Oh wait,
I,
sorry, Jordan Mason. I got the wrong Vikings running back there.
I mean, we're they kind of look like they both got the dread thing going. I'm probably going probably still going Pearsall. We're definitely a pro Pearsall show at this point. But I think he's got a really good opportunity this week, even with Mac Jones.
Are we pausing on Pearsall starting if Jennings is active, or are we good?
I think
questions from Davik Luge.
I think regardless if Juwan Jennings is playing or not, we decided we're playing Ricky Pearsall this week.
Sounds good. Scrub JTV asking a dumb question: Baker Mayfield or Michael Penix? No, it's not a dumb question. I'm just kidding with you. It's Baker. And I love Scrub Jays. We live not very far from one of the largest Scrub Jay populations in the state of Florida. And my daughter and I go hiking out there all the time. And you might too if you have a Scrub Jay that looks like that on there. You might live close to me. All right, Odunze or Charbonnet or they can start Bryce Young in PPR. It looks like a super flex question. Where are you going there, Adam?
Again, Bryce Young did not look good, but when we were drafting him this offseason, there was definitely a lot of good things coming out of Carolina camp, especially with how he finished the end of the 2024 season in a super flex league. It was 1 week. Let's give Bryce Young the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to leave the quarterback in the super flex position.
All right. And then our captain, captain is in here with us saying, let's go. And then he tells me my audio is bad, but they got that fixed. So yeah, good. Texting is also a great way of getting things done. Guys, I want to talk to you about your starts of the week. And I somehow flew right into that slide. Is it the right slide? It is. Adam, you're going back to the well on AJ Brown. Tell us about him.
I am. I mean, first off, this is just strictly a vibes pick, right? I mean, it was bad in week 1. We all saw it. He didn't get a target to the end of the fourth quarter. Philadelphia Eagles heard about it. Fantasy managers definitely heard about it. AJ Brown heard about it. And he definitely addressed it this week, talking to the media. It sounds like he's definitely going to be more involved. He's going to be locked in. No more memes of him circulating, reading a book on the sidelines. He said he's leaving that in the locker room. He's going to be focused. But we're talking about a fantasy football show. If you're a guy like Joey's like, I don't care about vibes. I want all stats. So I got some stats for you. Looking at StatMuse, it's 1 week, but Kansas City defense ranks 14th in terms of rushing yards allowed per carry to the running back position. This is a team that's definitely familiar with Saquon Barkley. They sold out to stop Saquon Barkley in the Super Bowl. I do not think they want to get Saquon Barkley going. Kansas City defense as well allowed 318 passing yards to Justin Herbert in week 1. Chargers offense, typically we thought that was going to be a run heavy offense. Kansas City sold out against the run, a lot of passing yards. I think game script, I think vibes, I think stats all point to AJ Brown being an excellent start this week. I like him to even find the end zone.
I love your start of the week, Adam. Absolutely do. Colton, tell us about yours. Rome Odunze.
Rome Odunze, man. And this goes beyond just the Ben Johnson revenge angle, I promise. That's compelling. But we've got the implied team total of 20.5, 6.5 point dogs. For me, they're going to have to throw a ton. And I thought there were moments for Chicago, right? Caleb Williams, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams was a little inaccurate, right? The completion percentage over expected was the lowest from week 1, and that was concerning. But Rome Odunze played 93.7% of the snaps, finished 13th among wide receivers in target share this week. There was ambiguity at the skill positions, not for Rome Odunze. He's going to play a ton. He'll be involved. He'll see a ton of man coverage against Detroit. He looked pretty good against that with the Vikings last week, was 30th in yards per route run against man coverage last season. with a pretty dysfunctional Bears offense. If you roster Odunze, I think he's one of my favorite starts this week. Is my start of the week.
Awesome. I'm playing Rome Odunze in quite a few leagues. I drafted a lot of them. Colton, thanks for hanging with us for the first half of hour. We're going to kick you out, though, because we have somebody else backstage that has a start of the week that they want to talk about. Colton, you got any final words before you head out?
Not really, man. Fire up Rome Odunze. Listen to my great co-hosts, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, dude, we love having you here. All right, we'll see you next week, buddy.
Later, guys.
Now let's get him out of here. All right. Next, we're bringing up everybody's favorite Buffalo Bills fan. Where'd he go? There he is. Jeff Bell. Jeff, how are the vibes today, Jeff?
Vibes are immaculate. We've been out and about. We had my middle daughter has cheerleading from 10 to 11. It's hot here in Columbus. We were out in the sun. And so get out, get some sun, get moving around, get back in here, get ready for some football. So we're ready to go.
Jeff, I have a question for you really fast before we get into your start of the week. Yesterday, Ohio State played your alma mater. On those days, what do you do?
I get annoyed that they made the schedule that way is the first thing that I do. The college football playoff has changed the conversation a little bit because I used to be pretty conflicted on it, but it also used to be a one and done loss. Your season was pretty much over. And so I kind of would be like, well, I want them to do good, but also I don't want the Buckeye season to be over after losing to OU. Now my heart is a Bobcat. I grew up a Buckeye fan. I am still very much a Buckeye fan. My heart is a Bobcat, and they didn't pull it through yesterday, but I do cheer for them now when they're playing against Ohio State, just because a win there would be monumental program shifting, whereas Ohio State is still capable of losing to Michigan and winning the national championship. So they have plenty of time to overcome that for the best team in America.
Perfect. I'm glad I asked that question. I was very curious about it all. Let's talk your start of the week. DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
What do you got to say?
Revenge. We got revenge brewing here. And not only do we have revenge, DK Metcalf has been trying to leave the Seahawks for, I believe, like about 18 months or so, and he finally was able to. We also have the next touchdown pass that Aaron Rodgers throws will tie Brett Favre on the all-time record. And I would imagine Aaron Rodgers would love to not only tie, but pass Brett Favre on the all-time touchdown passing record. This could be the most vengeful touchdown in NFL history between Aaron Rodgers hitting DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, start of the week, last week, 83 yards. He only had 4 receptions, but 83 yards was his first game over 70 yards since week 7 of 2024. We saw that Steelers passing attack, those 4 passing touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. This is a difficult Seattle defense, but at the same time, Tyreek Woolen, there are questions about whether or not he's going to be benched. He got roasted by our guy, guy of the show, Ricky Pearsall, last week for over 100 yards. DK Metcalf gets the end zone, flirts with 100 yards, the start of the week.
Jeff, I love you. It makes me so happy that I get to work with you every week. You're awesome. All right. It just makes me laugh. All right, Leo, we're getting right into the start sets, guys. Let's get through as many of these as we can. Would you start AJ Brown or Travis Hunter, Jeff?
I would start AJ Brown. I mean, Travis Hunter, we saw the volume. He didn't score that many points last week, and I think it's going to be more defense heavy for him.
Sounds good. Adam, Dobbins or Swift?
Oh man. I mean, I just listened to that 5-minute wrap off about revenge, and I should probably be leaning into DeAndre Swift. So I'm going to. Let's go with DeAndre Swift. Revenge game.
All right, DeAndre Swift. Love it. PPR flex. Sampson or Diggs? Jeff, pick one.
Sampson for me in full PPR flex. I think that I don't know where you guys stand. I'm curious about this Patriots Miami game, but I think Sampson still gets the passing volume we saw last week.
Okay. And then Ingram or Juwan Johnson. Are you worried about Ingram, Jeff, this season?
Yes, I'm worried about him, largely because the usage that we saw last week. And I think Sean Payton's proclivity to rotate tight ends. They like the blocking tight ends there too. So Johnson for me.
Guitar player for Aerosmith letting us know. Joey's super quiet. Well, I'm not now. Now I'm loud. Look at you guys. He said, oh, Joey, you're so quiet. Now I'm all loud. And you're like, oh, man, I wish he was quiet again. Nope. Scampers is in here. Good morning, guys. We love you, Scampers. Always and forever. Adam Hutchinson. I want to know, Mark Andrews or Juwan Johnson? Are you scared of that terrible game from Andrews last week?
I am a little bit, just because Isaiah Likely wasn't even on the field. So, we just spent the first half hour talking about how not to overreact to one game in week one. Juwan Johnson saw a lot of targets and played a lot. So I think I'm just going to go for the volume play. I'm going to go with Juwan Johnson.
Clubhouse leader for name of the day, Ignacio Marino. I think I said that right too. Ken Walker, Jordan Mason, or Nick Chubb in a half PPR, Jeff?
It's going to be Walker for me. I know that it can make everybody nervous. I don't know if Chubb is going to catch any passes at all there. And Mason, I still think, while flex-worthy, is a touchdown-dependent play.
All right. We going Williams or Cook? Adam?
James Cook.
And Craze blowing me a kiss. He's a little forward, but that's okay. All right. Metcalf or Hollywood Brown, Jeff?
I got Metcalf ranks my start of the week. I've got him ranked over Hollywood Brown.
Beautiful. I should have. I'm glad I came. Oh, the Viking in here. Ken Walker, Charbonnet, Pearsall, Keon Coleman. Jeff, I'm going to go to you on this as well. Talk about Keon Coleman. Would you consider playing Keon Coleman here over those other options?
For me, it's Pearsall here. I know the concern may be about Mac Jones, but we saw Mac Jones get Brian Thomas Jr. going off last week. And, there's some backup quarterbacks that can still get the ball to their players.
Awesome. And just we'll hit on Pearsall one more time. Devontae Smith over him? Are we still going Pearsall?
I'm going Pearsall. Pearsall's my wide receiver 20 this week. I'm pretty high on him in regular consensus.
Ooh. Micah from Hawaii have Lawrence and McCarthy, but can pick up Dak. Who's the play? Adam, what quarterback?
No, nobody really likes him, but I kind of like Dak Prescott this week. Yeah, I'm going Dak Prescott.
I agree with you this week. If we see one more game out of JJ McCarthy like last week, I think it's another solid game out of him. He's a starting quarterback for me. I waited way too long in my home league, and my two quarterbacks are Bryce Young and JJ McCarthy. And I played McCarthy last week, and I was okay with it. So
I just want to hop in here, Joey.
This is a question for Adam.
Sorry. I just wanted to announce Juwan Jennings is officially active this week. Just
okay,
for
good.
People asking about him.
All right.
Hey, Adam, I know we're all dads, but you're the most recent new dad. How are you feeling about 4 days after becoming a new dad?
How was I feeling 4 days after becoming a new dad? I wasn't even a person.
Yeah.
I was a zombie.
Oh, okay. I see where you're
Congratulations,
going with this,
JJ McCarthy. New father, JJ McCarthy.
I like how you brought that in. That was good, Jeff. Man, we are just a top-notch show. Joe, we got it fixed. Calm down. No, we had so many questions coming in early today that it took a while to get to the 5-minute portion of the show. We are thankful for everyone being in here. Ingram, Strange, or Ferguson? Is it Ferguson, Adam?
I think it might be. Yeah. I mean, Jeff touched on it a little bit with somewhat questionable usage from Evan Ingram in week one.
All right, I got a trade question for you, Jeff. Saquon Barkley for Derrick Henry and Keenan Allen. What side do you want?
I still want the Saquon side. Let's see. If you're sitting Jameson Williams here, then I'm definitely not flipping Barkley for Derrick Henry and Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and thank you, Jose, for the context. That matters so much in trade questions. We get so many trade questions like in a vacuum. Would you rather have this guy or this guy? And then you hear, oh, well, I'm completely set at wide receiver. Well, yeah, don't make the trade for Keenan Allen then if you're set. All right, good job there. Just hold on to your players. Rick in here, 3/4 point PPR, trying to trick me this morning. ETN, Pearsall, or JMO in a 10-team league, Jeff?
ETN for me. I think he's the bell cow back for the Jaguars. So going up against a Bengals defense that's very susceptible.
All right. And Pacheco or Waddle, Adam?
Waddle.
All right. And barely pulled out a W last week. No thanks to Jameson and Andrews. Stick with Andrews versus Cleveland or pivot to Juwan Johnson versus San Francisco. Full PPR, Jeff.
I am sticking with Andrews here. I'll double check my ranks, but I've got Andrews, I believe.
Perfect. We reached the point in the chat where Joey fixed his microphone, and everyone's real excited for it. Pickens or Diggs? It's going to be Pickens for me. Mike, talk to us about Drake London in a guillotine league. Bench in case he's a decoy? I don't know if I'd go that far. Jeff, would you go that far?
No, I don't think he's going to be a decoy. And this is going to be all hands on deck against a Minnesota defense. Brian Flores bringing the blitz. They're on the same page with London. So,
all right. Montgomery, Harvey, or Charbonnet? Give me Montgomery for me. Kevin Hudson. Kevin, good seeing you here again this week. Morning, Jay Wright. He's a big Jalen Wright fan, apparently. Oh, wait, no, that's me too. Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy? Adam, are you worried about the 4 days rest after having a new baby? Or is it Bo Nix? You all right?
I mean, they totally JJ McCarthy.
He's still not a person after having a baby.
I mean, JJ McCarthy, they hire like a night maid, I'm sure. JJ McCarthy, multi-million. I'm gonna go with Bo Nix. They have to have a night nurse in the McCarthy household, right?
I like the night maid. That's a good team name too. The night maid. I got the night maid this week. I'm probably gonna lose. Damon, Waffle or Waddle or Keenan Allen? Half PPR, Jeff.
Keenan Allen. I'm fading the Miami passing options.
All
really
right.
all the Miami options. But
Nixa in here. Once again, I hope that baby has gotten older since last season. Jake, keep it as your avatar. Don't listen to me. I'm a jerk. J.K. Dobbins, Jamison Williams, Jalen Warren, Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin III, or Booty. Adam, pick one. Pick two.
Pick two. Half PPR, pick two. Give me J.K. Dobbins. Give me Jalen Warren.
Okay. Jeff, I'm going to go to
Jay Williams doesn't work right now. I mean, we need to know Javonte or Jameson. So
okay. Good point. Jeff, I the name came up 2 times in a row. I want to talk about Calvin Austin. Are you buying what we saw last week?
I'm buying what we saw, not over these receivers here. I'm going to play Boutte here out of these 3 receivers, but I am buying that there is the potential for Austin's going to be there, vertical element for Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Adam, Sutton, Henderson, Devonta Smith. Where are we going?
Give me Cortland Sutton.
All right. Jacoby Myers, Jamison Williams, Jeff's favorite player in the world, Quentin Johnston or Shakir? Jeff.
I'm going Jameson out of this group. There's highest ceiling, I think, out of this group still.
We've reached our favorite moment in every show. JB's grandmama is in here. Feeling like Boutte is in play today, my sweeties. Yeah, we knew you were going to go there.
It's always in play. Always in play.
Dave saying, Joey, this is for our 350 NFFC team. Diggs, Olave, or Sampson in the flex. Adam, we're going to let you make the decision for us.
Nothing like a lot of pressure. Jeez.
We had a good week last week. We're like in the top 300, I think.
You know,
like that's cashing.
I'm sure people are a little bit worried about Stephon Diggs because of, the limited snap share. He only played 41% of the snaps, and people think that's because of the knee. I think, the Patriots are just being a little bit conservative with him and ramping up. They got some good play out of Kayshon Boutte as well. Against this Miami team, I'd be trying to get as many Patriots as I can into my lineup. So I think I'm going to lean Diggs a hair over Olave. But that's just because I am kind of partial to Stephon Diggs.
Perfect. And is it the Jeff Mob? Jeff, is that what they're called?
Jeff Hive.
Jeff Hive. Jeff Hive's in here. Morning, Jeff. How you doing, buddy? Donald Craddock. Oh, I like that's a good name. That's like the old man from Caddyshack. That would be his name. The guy that's like the clubhouse pro, like Donald Craddock. I don't know. Sorry to make fun of your name, Donald. You're probably really nice, and I'm not nice. Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, or Keenan Allen PPR. Jeff, where are you going?
Devontae Adams here for me. Tiers above the other 2.
All right. And we're getting through a bunch of questions here. Flacco or Bryce Young, Adam?
Ooh, Bryce Young. I am worried about Flacco versus the Ravens. Revenge game, though, I guess. So we got to acknowledge that.
First game back in Baltimore. So.
Oh, I changed my mind. Flacco.
Jeff, I think we're gonna take away your start of the week away from you. I'm doing this live. I think we're gonna do revenge games with Jeff. That's gonna be your segment. Like
The
I
Friday
wanted to.
Fix has all the revenge slates. The Friday Fix on footballguys.com. Just check out that article. Got all the slate for all your revenge games coming up this week.
Wow. Look at us plugging the site, plugging articles. You know what? Let's plug something else. Everybody go listen to the Audible with Sig and Cecil, and then check out the Fantasy Football Show with Dave and Alfredo. And you can listen to the Dynasty Show with Dave and Jeff. All right, we've plugged all the shows.
I was going to say, Joey, if you didn't plug my show and I'm sitting right
here.
here.
You know what? You should have a word with Dylan, who did some amazing graphics for us today. Subscribe to the newsletter. Joe Bryant will email you every single morning at 3:00 in the morning. And you can wake up and read that. Or if you're a late bathroom user like I am, you got to go to Tinkle at 4:00. Hey, you got a little email from Joe there for you.
I set my alarm
in the
to
Discord.
wake up right when it comes out. So that's how committed I am to that.
Right, I smarted. Charbonnet, Sampson, or Diggs. Jeff, where are you going there?
Half PPR league. Gosh, I don't. Sampson, Pierre probably. I'm sure I've got Charbonnet ranked above him, but half PPR. I do want the passing volume.
All right, Adam, would you play Kelsey over Juwan Johnson?
I would.
I would too. Hi, party people. That's me. Love the show. We love you. Thanks for being here. In a 12-team non-PPR league, which trap do I fall into? I like how you phrase this. Mark Andrews or Kyle Pitts? Jeff, which trap you falling into?
I'm going to fall into the Mark Andrews trap here. Non-PPR.
I fell into a trap one time when I booked a hotel in Baltimore, and they turned it into government housing without letting me know. Truth, right next to the stadium there in Baltimore, next to the casino and the Top Golf. I went to check into my hotel, and they're like, "Sorry, sir, you can't stay here. We turned this into government housing last week." That was a fun call with Priceline. Like, what happened to my hotel? All right, Juwan Johnson or Hunter Henry, Adam?
Juwan Johnson.
All right. You sure? No, that's good. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Irish, he's in here with a lot of questions. Judy, Hollywood, DJ Moore, Warren or Hunter? Jeff, where are you going?
I'm going with Hollywood Brown here out of this, and then he wants one more out of it. Again, Jalen Warren or Tyler Warren. If it's Jalen Warren, I'm going to play Jalen Warren, but otherwise probably Judy here.
Okay. I have a question to partner with Chris here. 2 quarterback league. Got to start one between Daniel Jones or JJ McCarthy. Pick one, Adam.
I'll go with JJ.
Okay.
That's a tough matchup. That's a tough matchup for the Colts this week with Denver.
My question, is Daniel Jones worthy of the Indiana Jones nickname?
They got to win week 1.
Yeah.
If he wins,
beat Denver this week, we could start to have a real conversation there, I think.
If he beats Denver this week, I will call him Indiana Jones on the show. Until then, I'm sorry, there's only one Indiana Jones, and his name is Harrison Ford. Or River Phoenix, if you like that first part of Last Crusade. All right. Igbuka, Pearsall, or Sutton? Adam?
I feel like you should answer this.
I would play Igbuka, but I feel
just
like I'm going to get outnumbered.
I just wanted that to hurt a little bit. I wanted to hear you say that. Yeah, I pick 2. So yeah, I pick Igbuka and Pearsall. Go for a little bit of upside.
There you go. All right, Jeff in here. Thank you for being here with us as always, Jeff. Pickens, Pearsall, or Henderson in a flex spot. It's going to be Pearsall for us. Joe Perry, second quarterback, Geno Smith or Bo Nix, or skip the QB. I love that you're looking at this as an option and start Marquise Brown. I think it would be Bo Nix for us, Joe. And then Fannin or Ingram. Let's talk about Fannin for a second. I think it's the first time he's really come up. He's come up a couple other times, but and a head up option. Fannin, Jeff, or Ingram?
Fannin for me. I mean, I do worry that Dave and I were talking on our show about Isaiah Likely last year in week 1, how nothing about Fannin in week 1 looked like a fluke, but then last year in week 1, nothing looked like a fluke with Isaiah Likely, and then he just didn't get used again. But I'm still going to go with Fannin here.
Okay. Adam, are you sitting Tyreek Hill for Keenan Allen or Odunze?
Man, I hate that question. I would probably give Tyreek Hill one more shot in my lineup.
Okay.
I don't love it. I understand it. The vibes are terrible in Miami right now, but I just have a hard time benching him.
They did have a players only meeting, and I think anytime in week 2 you can have a meeting. You have to have a meeting without your coach. I mean, that says something, but maybe they try this week, which would be a massive upgrade over what they did last week.
They have lots of players only meetings at Football Guys without me, so yeah, I know how that feels. Mike McDaniel. I feel bad for everybody. All right. First time we've had Tillman come up today. I know that we've had Booty versus Tracy come up. Would you play Tillman over Booty, Jeff?
I would not. I would play Booty over Tillman.
And
Adam, were you
Devonta
worried
Smith-
about the shoulder at all for Booty? That was what it was on the injury report, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't on there very long, so sometimes it's tough when we read these practice reports. I think sometimes they just slap an injury on there and give a guy a rest day. So it wasn't really limiting throughout the week. So I'm not worried about Booty this week.
All right.
Is it Booty?
And
I'm saying it wrong my entire life.
I don't know. I just feel like if he's from LSU and Louisiana, the Booty makes a lot of sense. But it could
That's
be
what
Booty.
I think.
yeah, but that's not as fun to say on a show. And
Boutte. I think Boutte is a lot of fun. You put the
it is kind of fun, yeah. But All right, and then Jeff has a question for us. Oh wait, sorry, Rick. We went right by your question. Adams or Pearsall? Are we? I know we're loving
Adams.
in Pearsall over Adams.
Yep.
Okay. Jeff, another Jeff. The Jeff Hive is out in full force today. Who to flex today? Keon Coleman or DeAndre Swift? Jeff, answer for your Jeff.
Swift here. I mean, guaranteed usage.
All right, I think we might get a Devontae Adams here over Diggs, Ridley, Mooney, and Waddle. Adam.
Need 3. Yeah, give me Devontae, give me Diggs, and then give me Ridley. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I mean, Darnell Mooney, he's back, but he's missed a decent amount of time, and we don't know exactly what injury he was dealing with, that shoulder injury. So I wrote about it last night, but I'm just a little bit hesitant about his usage in week 1. So I'm leaving Darnell Mooney out of most of my lineups if I can.
All right. Angelo, it's going to be Boutte over QJ. We had that one a little earlier. Brock Guys. I like that name. Sup, fellas. Pick one. Standard scoring. Caleb or Bo Nix? Jeff, where are we going at quarterback?
Caleb here. Caleb's quarterback 9 last week. A lot of talk about Caleb being a bad quarterback. Caleb was quarterback 9 fantasy. So
yeah. So there are 2 things I will always put up on this show: dog pictures and anything that says Dave looks like Shia LaBeouf, because he loves hearing that so much. So yeah, well, I don't know why Dave has the picture of Shia in his profile picture. Hey guys, 18 PPR Superflex. Dave actually doesn't really mind it at all. Use Drake London or George Pickens in my wide receiver spot. Where are we going there? Oh, he's using Drake London and George Pickens. Should he play Rashid Shaheed, Khalil Shakir, Boutte, or Keon Coleman?
Keon Coleman for me.
Okay. Over George Pickens?
No, the confusing question. Drake London and George Pickens, definitely.
Okay. Morning, full PPR. Would you put Diggs, Ridley, or JMO in the flex?
Ridley for me, I think.
Okay. And then Adam, have to drop one for a defense. Jalen Coker or Tank Bigsby?
It depends on team. I mean, I do think Jalen Coker could be back immediately when he's eligible from IR. There's a possibility Tank Bigsby never plays. It's all, based on a Saquon Barkley injury. So it depends on how your team's set up. If you want to hold on to those running backs in case of injury, it certainly can happen at any time. But I think I would drop Tank Bigsby for a defense.
Okay. I want to take 1 second to talk about Tank Bigsby, though, because Will Shipley is out this week. It's a name we didn't have up on our little graphic there. Did you take the Tank Bigsby trade to be kind of tea leaves for maybe Will Shipley's injury, or no, not related at all?
I didn't. I just thought it was the Eagles seeing an opportunity just to add a little bit of depth in their RB room, and they talked about how they like him as a kick returner. So I didn't, but Jeff might have a different thought.
I think it was. I don't know that AJ Dillon is long for that roster when everybody's healthy, and the Eagles are in a position with draft picks where like the draft picks they have can't even make their roster because they've made so many trades of just accumulating picks, and so they're kind of like that guy in your dynasty league that has like 18 fourth rounders, and he just trades for all the vets whenever they become available because it's like, this guy's not going to make my team anyways. But I think the contingent upside with Tank Bigsby is very, very high. That should Saquon Barkley miss time, like we're plugging in Tank Bigsby in as a top 15-ish running back immediately.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, tough decision, Nick. But all right. JMO wants to know Goff or May. Can't even go with your own quarterback, JMO.
So I'm going to stab your heart through the heart here, but I'm going to go Drake May. I'm really concerned about Jared Goff, to be honest, without Ben Johnson there. And I think Ben Johnson's the type of thing where he knows every single thing about this Lions organization, and he's the type that would know everything about it. I think it's going to be an interesting spot for the Lions here.
I like it. I'll be watching that game for sure. Pick one: Devontae Adams, Hollywood Brown, or Calvin Ridley to start this week in full PPR. He needs a lock because he's got a lock, Adam.
If he needs a lock, then it's Devontae Adams.
All right, like it.
There was a report that that the Rams offense is going to be a little bit more balanced this week between Adams and Puka Nacua. Those were the only players targeted last week, like outside of, I think, maybe one or two targets. Devontae Adams is popping up in a lot of questions here. I'm comfortably playing Devontae Adams and ranking him as a top 15-ish wide receiver. I think there was a difficult matchup against the Houston defense last week, and they just kind of went to Puka Nacua week one. Devontae Adams is going to be a lot more involved, and he doesn't belong in some of these questions.
All right. We've got about 5 minutes left in the show. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to say, and Wan'Dale Robinson is officially active. I know we were talking about him a little bit earlier in the show.
Yeah, he was questionable and now he's active. Darius Slayton, maybe not the most exciting play now. He was a little bit ago, but we got about 5 minutes left. And just to let everyone know, once we get off here, hop over to the Football Guys Discord. Hutchinson Brown will be there in the Sunday morning kickoff, answering all of your start-sit questions leading up until kickoff. We love Hutchinson. He is such a good boy. Although he has some questionable diet.
He's a grown man, Joey. He's 19 years old now.
He is okay. Yeah, he is a grown man. We love Hutch. He's got a mustache. He came back from Peru with a mustache, and it was a topic of conversation.
You eat a monkey, you get a mustache. So.
I didn't want him to bring up the monkey thing, but he's open to talk about it. Anyways, yeah. Bo Nix or McCarthy? We've had this question, and it was Bo Nix because Bo Nix did not have a baby 4 days ago. That's the reasoning on this show. Nix or May? No, we haven't had Nix or May. Jeff? Nix or May
here for me.
That sounds like a cop duo, like Nix and May on CBS Tuesday nights at 8. Actually, be at 10 because it's a little spicy of a show. All right, tight end help: Ferguson or Kincaid? Adam.
It's Ferguson. Can I ask Jeff though what he thinks about Dalton Kincaid? Because I have him in some spots and I'm a little nervy myself.
Caught a touchdown last week. We would be talking about if he didn't catch the touchdown last week. I don't know. I'm nervous too. I think it was these wide receivers. Offense is pretty heavy on the wide receivers.
There was a group of guys that bet $100 on Dalton Kincaid first touchdown in that game, and I was at the Venetian Sportsbook. And one of them got on the bar and got kicked out. He was so excited. Stood up on the bar. Funny.
Hope he could catch the ticket.
Half PPR. Need a wide receiver 2 and a flex, so pick 2 of them. Mike Evans, AJ Brown, which is Adam's start of the week, and Devontae Adams. So between Mike Evans and Devontae Adams, Jeff, pick the other one.
Between Mike Evans and Devontae Adams? Oh, golly. I'm ranking Devontae Adams above Mike Evans right now. God, that's a good question. That's a good team you got there.
That's a really, really great question to man. All right, Chris. Okay. PPR flex issues. Got to start 2 between Mason, Warren, and Walker. So pick one there, Adam.
Ken Walker.
Okay. And then between Coleman, Ridley, Calvin Austin, Kincaid, Juwan Johnson, Jeff, pick the other.
Coleman, Ridley for me.
Okay. It's going to be Devontae Adams, Patrick, over Diggs. Happy Football Sunday to you, Sumo Kid. And I love that picture you have there. The only time Brady ever wore creamsicle, let's just point that out. Never on the field, but, when he wants to have a few, he puts the colors on. So that's another day. AJ Brown over Drake London, Ray Sutton or Igbuka. I would go Igbuka. Do you guys agree?
I've got Sutton above Igbuka.
That's fine. Whatever. That's probably right. I think I would have started Igbuka over like my second kid. Like at this point, I'm so in love with that guy. The Westgate Sportsbook is well aware of how much I love Igbuka because wow, the guy at the Venetian was standing on the bar. Joe Bryan had to pull me off a seat because I was jumping up and down. Oh, that's a good dog picture. And this will be a last question today. Austin or Wandale Robinson? Jeff, where are you going?
Austin here, just higher upside. I don't know if Russell Wilson makes it out of this game.
All right, guys, thank you so much, guys, gals, and dogs and babies and whoever watched us today. We appreciate you being here with us as always. Adam, any parting words for our audience today?
Nope. Good luck to everybody. Make sure you're subscribing to that Football Guys newsletter, and then you can pop back Monday. I'll have the injury roundup from whatever injuries happened this week.
Yeah, and guys, go give Adam a follow on the old Twitter if you use Twitter while you're watching games. Like, usually instant reaction to injuries, and I can't give that guy enough love. Jeff, before you hit us with it, any final words?
Joey, do we have somebody in the Discord for anybody that didn't get their question answered? If they can hit the Discord, and we've got somebody there answering questions. I just want to make sure that some of these people
Hutchinson's
out
in there today with us.
Okay, great. Hutchinson's in there. If you did not get your questions answered, we'll try to go faster in the future. Thank you so much for the questions. We appreciate you all. Go out there and win this week. But on that note, make sure, don't get too cute with your lineups. You don't want to bench Joe Flacco. Or not Joe Flacco, but Joe Burrow out of your quarterback one spot in your super flex, regardless of who plays Monday. Make sure he knows he's still your quarterback one, despite a disappointing week last week. But clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Let's go win one.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great week.